Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my top 10 favorite drugstore releases so far of 2021. I usually don't do these types of roundups until the very end of the year, and I do my 2021 favorite drugstore makeup, but I thought I'd kind of do a little touch base now at the end of the first quarter of 2021. Can you tell I come from corporate America? But I thought I'd do a little recap of my 10 favorite products that I have tried so far this year. So I'm gonna go in order of the way that I do my makeup, starting with primer. And as I've said before, I'm not a huge primer person. It's not a step that I think is always necessary if you've prepped the skin well with moisturizer and your skincare ingredients. I don't think that a primer is something that everyone has to have in their makeup routine, but I definitely saw a big difference with my makeup when I used this primer, and it's the NYX Marshmallow Primer. Unfortunately, this is on the pricier side. That's why I got the trial size to try it, because I didn't want to commit to the $17 big version. And I do think that this will last me quite a while because I don't use very much and I only use it where I need it. This hydrates the skin, but it doesn't make it feel greasy or oily. It doesn't scare me to put this on the places of my face that get really shiny. I find that my makeup goes on a lot smoother. It has something to kind of grab onto. It's a little bit tacky when it dries down, and I find that it evens out texture, pores, and dry patches. So it's been a long time since I have tried a primer that I feel like is worth buying, because it sort of feels like the same thing over and over again, or I don't really notice a difference in my makeup application. But this is the first one in a long time, like I said, that I really feel like is worth the hype. All right, next up I have two foundations that made it into this video. There have been a lot of really good skin releases, but I feel like these two foundations really stood out to me. The first is the Physicians Formula Butter Believe It. That's the foundation that I have on right now. It's the foundation that I have been wearing on a daily basis. I use the shade medium, and it's a perfect shade for me. And for those of you that have been following me for a while, you're probably really surprised that the scent on this doesn't bother me, because it does have a scent. So if you hate any sort of fragrance in any of your makeup, you're not gonna like this. And when I first put it on, I was like, oh great, there's a scent, I'm not gonna like this. But it's really not as strong as other Physicians Formula products that I've tried. And the formula on this foundation is so good. I can look past the scent because, number one, I've used this for weeks and it doesn't break me out. And number two, the way that this makes my skin look is just so worth the 30 seconds of smelling the smell as I'm applying it. It has a pump applicator, and I only need one pump, not even, and it covers my whole face. With this foundation, less is more. The first couple of times that I tried it, I felt like it looked really cakey, and that's because I was really building it up. But if you use a small amount of this and just kind of spread it all over your face, you'll get a solid medium coverage, and your skin really looks like skin. It covers a lot without having to use a lot of product. It doesn't mattify, it doesn't make my skin look extra dewy, it's just skin-like. And that's what I've been really enjoying out of foundations. I just want it to look like my skin, but better. I'm not looking for anything to be super illuminating, because I do have shiny parts of my face, and I'm also not looking for something to be super mattifying because I have dry parts of my face. So combination girl problems, but this checks every box. It's been a while since I've loved a Physicians Formula base product this much, but this one, huge thumbs up. All right, next up for a full coverage foundation, I would say the Physicians Formula is like a medium one, really good for daytime, really natural looking. I would say this one is a full coverage foundation. This is the CoverGirl Outlast foundation. I have mine in the shade 856, which is caramel beige. I wouldn't call this a matte foundation either, but I would say it dries down to more of a semi-matte finish than this one, which dries down to a totally natural finish. But I think that's the aspect of this that makes this more long lasting than this one. The thing that I love about this is, number one, the coverage looks great. It looks like skin, but because it has that little bit of matte finish in it, it doesn't require much powder at all. In fact, I don't recommend powdering a lot with this foundation. If you do, you can get that super matte look, which if that's what you like, then you can powder the heck out of this and more power to you. But if you don't like that look, or if you don't find it flattering on your skin, which is the case with me, I very much limit the amount of powder that I use with this. I just dust it on the areas that I feel like I need it, usually just the areas where I put concealer, and I'll finish off the rest of my face with a setting spray. And I find that I still get the long lasting benefits out of this, but without the powdery cakey look. So these are the two must-have foundations so far of 2021. All right, next up is the only tool that I am including in this video because I love it that much, and it's super dirty because I just can't stop using it. And it's the EcoTools biodegradable sponges. I know what you're thinking. I have so many sponges, Sponges are like a dime a dozen. I remember back when the Beauty Blender was first released, it was like this huge innovation and everyone had to have the Beauty Blender, and then Real Techniques came out with one and they were like, oh, it's a dupe, and then now everybody and their brother has come out with a sponge. So why do I need another sponge? I feel like I've tried them all. I felt the same way, honestly. I just tried this for the sake of trying it to tell you guys about it. I really was not particularly excited, but this is the best sponge I've tried in a long time. It is so good. And the bonus is that it's biodegradable. I'm not saying I love it because it's environmentally conscious. I just love it, and it's a bonus that it's environmentally conscious. It gets really big when it gets wet, and the shape of it kind of looks like it's gonna be weird, but this flat edge right here is perfect for when you kind of do your eyeshadow first, you're doing a dark makeup look, and then you want to just use the edge of this to clean it up. You can perfectly align this to your lower lash line so that you get the right angle to create that little cat eye effect. I've washed it a million times and it's still intact. Doesn't soak up a whole lot of product, and it's just one of the best sponges that I've tried in a really long time. So big thumbs up on this one, and if you haven't tried it, I highly recommend it. All right, next up is a concealer, and this has blown me away. This is a under $5 concealer that performs as well as $40 concealers, and it is the Wet n Wild Mega Last Incognito Concealer. I have mine in the shade Light Beige, which is pretty light, but it still works for me. I can make it work with a good bit of bronzer. This is a super thin formula. There's nothing like thick and creamy about it. It feels really thin, but then as you blend it out, you're shocked by the coverage that you're getting, because it seems like it's gonna be a really natural, kind of the consistency of the Maybelline Fit Me concealer, where it's a really thin, natural feeling consistency, but then as you go to blend it out, it's like, whoa. A little bit goes a super long way. It lasts on me all day long. It does not highlight the dry patches that I have underneath my eyes. My under eyes, for some reason in the winter, are the part of my face that gets the driest, so I have to be really careful with the concealer that I use. And this, along with the Undone concealer, which the only reason that's not in this video is because it's not a new release for 2021, but these are the two that I have been using almost exclusively when I'm not testing other products. Next up is a highlighter, and I've spoken about this several times, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. And mine's actually broken, but it's the Catrice More Than Glow highlighter. Whenever I do my makeup in the morning, my toddler likes to go in there and like play with my brushes and touch everything, because she's almost 2 and everything is fun and new, and she accidentally dropped this. So I just want to make that clear that the packaging isn't bad or anything. It's just, don't let your 2-year-old play with it and drop it from a vanity. Outside of that, you should be good. But I have mine in the shade Supreme Rose Beam, and I said in my favorites video that I didn't mention this because it had been sold out for so long. I had been checking back, and it had been sold out, and it's now in stock. I don't know if maybe they came out with like a small amount and now they rolled out their usual amount, because it was sold out for what seemed like a really long time. But now that it's back in stock, I can finally just express my full love for it. I would say my #1 favorite highlighter is the Flower Beauty highlighter. That's never gonna change. I don't see that changing in the foreseeable future. That's just the best formula at the drugstore, or period, in my opinion. But this comes really close. It is so finely milled that it's super flattering, and it does not highlight texture or pores the way that kind of a dustier or more glittery highlighter would. It really is silky smooth, and it just melts into your skin. This comes in one other color. It's more of like a warm golden color. But I would say if you have lighter skin, I'd recommend this shade over that one. All right, next up I have 2 palettes that were released this year that I am blown away by. This Milani palette, this is the Milani Face palette. I have talked about this before for being a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury one. That's like $70. This comes with a nice big mirror, and this is actually what I used today to do my makeup. I used these shadows for my eyeshadow, I used the bronzer, I used a mixture of these 2 blushes, and I did this highlighter. For situations where you're gonna be on the road and you don't wanna have to pack all these individual products, something like this is just a great thing to have in your makeup collection. Or if you're just a minimalist and don't like to keep a bunch of clutter on your vanity. As I've shared with you before, every product in here is amazing. I would say the highlighter is the only one that I don't reach for as often as a highlighter. I've been using this as an eyeshadow when I don't want to go for like a super pinky look. I'll just use this in my crease and then this all over my lid. It's definitely not as good as like this Catrice highlighter, but for what you're getting and the price that you're paying, I can't recommend this enough. All right, next up is the only product I'm gonna mention that you cannot get your hands on still, but it was just so good that I had to include it in this video, and it's the e.l.f. Chipotle Eyeshadow Palette. Again, this one has a mirror and just the most beautiful formula. These shimmer shades are stunning. They're to die for. The matte shades are beautiful, and it's a unique color collection. I like that you have kind of 3 different palettes to work with, and these 2 are super wearable. And then you've got this kind of fun pop of color if you're feeling experimental one day. The shimmery shades in here go on like butter, and the matte shades remind me of like the ColourPop formula, where they're super pigmented but also really easy to blend, so you kind of can't screw it up. So fingers crossed they come back out with this just for a minute, or a palette very similar to this. But speaking of e.l.f., I just saw on their Instagram that they are collaborating with Jen Adkin, the hairstylist and founder of Way, on a new collection, and it launches I think either April 4th or April 7th, and I am pumped. I'm so excited for that. So keep your eyes out for that, because I will be ordering it the day it releases. All right, the next product is a new brand available at Target, and it is by Jason Wu. When I did that video where I tried a lot of different brands at Target that maybe people aren't talking about as much, I would say this is one of the standouts from that video. I love that this, I'll just put a little bit on my cheeks because I feel like I need a little bit more blush. I love that this is an all-in-one product. You can use it as a blush, you can use it as your lipstick, and you can use it on your eyes. And for those monochromatic makeup looks, this is the perfect product. I think it feels really luxury, it feels really high-end in the packaging, but he is definitely on the higher end in terms of price points at the drugstore. And I do think some of the products like this one are worth it, whereas some, like the eyeshadow palette, aren't so much worth it. But if you want to try something from Jason Wu, you're just not sure which product is worth trying, go for this one. I think it's a really nice formula. It's not too matte, not too drying, and you can use it on all parts of your face. All right, last but not least, it's a product I actually haven't talked about yet here on my channel. It's a product that I've been testing, but I loved it so much that I had to include it in this video. And this is new from Physicians Formula. This is the Essence of Healthy Toner and Setting Spray. First of all, this packaging is yes. So this is packed with vitamins, antioxidants, minerals, amino acids, and natural acids to condition and visibly enhance the skin's radiance. It says to shake well and then spray it all over your face. So first things first, this is fragrance free. Yay, Physicians Formula releasing something without a fragrance. Let's all like clap. And I did an ingredient lookup on this, and all of them came back with green check marks and looks to be really good skin loving ingredients. This feels really refreshing, and I wouldn't say I've noticed a super long difference in the wear time of my makeup when I use this as a setting spray, but when I use it more as like a melt my makeup all together type of spray, more of like a MAC Fix Plus type of situation, it's amazing. I feel like it's just the perfect finishing touch to a makeup look to make it look really skin-like, really natural, and you're doing good things for your skin. And like I said, the mist on this is huge thumbs up. I have also just used this on days that I'm not gonna wear makeup, and it just, like I said, feels really refreshing. I sprayed it on my husband's face and he's like, oh, that's really nice. I don't think he's gonna start using it, but you never know. This will probably be also my next What's New at the Drugstore, but I had to include it in this video because I've just been loving it that much. But that's everything. Those are, in my opinion, the top 10 products that have been released so far in 2021. I hope you guys enjoyed this type of video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I will do this kind of maybe every 3 months throughout the year as a roundup. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one.